What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another deck profile here on the channel. Today, we're going to be going over the Kirishima list that I played in the PPG local event. This list is incredibly fun. It is one of those fun aggressive decks that I've ever played, and the reason is because we are playing 30 attack cards. That's right, 30 attack in our 50 card deck. We are playing a very, very, very high attack count. If you haven't seen one of my deck profiles before, basically what we're going to do is we're going to chit chat about how the flavor of the deck and how the deck feels, as opposed to just reading off the cards individually. So basically what Kirishima does is, as I am attacking, I get to destroy my committed foundations, because I'm going to be committing a lot of them because of how many attacks that I'm playing. And then I'm going to re-ready them by adding cards from my hand into my stage, and then drawing a card, and then as an added bonus, I get to have +2 damage. And so I'm constantly trying to build up as big of a stage as I can, but that's really tough because I'm only playing 20 foundations. And so the other ability he has is he's a little defensive of response. After I choose not to block a thing, I can commit him and take half damage. And so, like, he's a little tough to kill. He plays out big long strings as long as we get to that pseudo late game, but early game he's really, really weak, and so we have to try and burst past that early game in order to keep playing. So on to the attacks. We've got a lot of them, so we gotta get right to it. We are playing 4 Back Alley Haymaker. This is the best, most important card of the deck. It says build a foundation. The first bunch of cards that I'm playing, normally I go through my aggro defense flow disruption piles, but I just really have to focus on this card. Builds a 0 diff in. 16 of our 20 foundations are all 0 diffs, and so the fact that this is so live just all the time is really awesome. It's a stun 2 move. It's our best momentum out. We technically have a second momentum out. It's our best momentum out, and it becomes accidentally really fast for 7 damage with stun, and then the rebuild, and then continue. Yeah, this card's great. This card's super good. The only issue with the card is the fact that it is a 5 difficulty. It being a 5 diff means that I have to commit 2 foundations, but Kirishima makes it a 4 diff because I blow one of the committers up, and then build it in, and then I build in another one. So it essentially pays for itself. In the same vein, we are playing Harden Jab. It is a 4 diff that says if I don't have any face down, so this is the best card to lead the entire game with, I get to pick up a face down and then build it down. If you don't know, in Universes or the My Hero card game, after you have successfully paid the cost of the card, which on this one is enhance : so do nothing, or declare your enhance, add 1 face down foundation from your stage to your hand. You do that if you can, and then build the top card of your deck. So you essentially build a free one, and then if you committed a foundation, you destroy it and then rebuy it. And so this card is very, very free to play. As well as since you are able to, with Kirishima, add any card down into your stage, not just foundations, because they go build in face down. The game thinks that they're foundations. He gets to let you. Harden Jab lets you pick those those attack cards, those face down attack cards back up. In the same building vein, we have 4 overhead reversal. So the reason that this card is so important is a lot of times people don't play overhead reversal because Back Alley Haymaker exists, but the entire goal here is we need to have as many foundations on board as possible, because our goal is to play actually 7 attacks on this turn. And so I want to 7, 8 attacks on this turn, and so I need to have as many resources down as possible. And so this will build in committed, and then I use Kirishima to destroy the committed foundation I just built in, to build in a 1 ready and then redraw without losing or going even on a foundation count. I technically go +1 foundation whenever I use this plus Kirishima. And it's a throw, which feels really good. It's got some good tactics with not only the +2 damage from Kirishima, but +4 damage off of a Texas Smash, which we'll get to in a second. And then my last big building card is for Hardened Frenzy. Hardened Frenzy is always live. It's a 5 high for 7 always on our 4 diff. And if we've built a foundation, we definitely have, because of Kirishima. It gets that 1/1, and if it's completely blocked, it builds face down. It's just another foundation we get to play. This card almost didn't make the cut, but I am so incredibly glad that I did. It was this card and the next card were fighting for the space of Hardened Chop, which I'm actually not even playing in this deck. I thought that the difficulty of 5 difficulty Hardened Chop was actually going to be too costly to play inside of our deck. And so I want to say that the only 5 diff that we are playing as an actual aggro card is just the Back Alley Haymaker. Everything else is 4 diffs, because I need to be able to string out as far as I can. And the goal is actually to use Kirishima as late into the turn as possible. If I can swing, move, finally commit 1 foundation, I just check exceptionally well. I check godlike because of the low foundation count. And then on the third one, I start to re-ready things. That's what I want. I never, ever will blow up a ready foundation to then build in a ready foundation to +2 damage. That card would have to, my opponent would have to be at 3, and I played the throw. That's the only time that would ever happen. So the fact that this card gets to let me build a couple more is very good. And then my last big resource card, advantage card, is for leaping right hook. It gets +2 speed, -2 damage. If it hits, I draw a card. I want to draw the card so that I can hopefully draw another foundation, so that I can continue to build and pop off. As well as it's a deadlock threat, which is the other thing. My other option that I could have played was the Relentless Barrage, but once again, it's a 5 diff. I also really like the fact that I'm actually running a decent amount of low blocks. The deck blocks surprisingly well because you're allowed to use the Enhance Destroy a Foundation, build 1, draw 1 on your opponent's turn. And so you essentially get to re-ready 2 foundations over the course of 2 attacks, and then block 1 thing, and then block 1 thing with the response. And so like there is some really interesting offensive and defensive moves that you get to make with this deck, and I think this card actually has a place. It doesn't have a place in a lot of decks, but I think it actually has one here. As well as it has the punch keyword, because of course we are playing for Texas Smash. This card lets us get damage in. It's just a 4 high for 7. It's just decent stats. Not any better or worse than anything else, but the other big thing is it's a 1 mid block. Once again, we want to block that 1 thing on our opponent's turn and then respond with a Kirishima. This card honestly was a little lackluster. I wish I had like a better opener. But I just genuinely don't have it. I'm opting not to run Kirishima 2's DLC attack, strictly because, once again, it's just a 5 diff. And this is technically a 5 diff, but like I'm allowed to throw it out as a 4 diff and then destroy a foundation and build it, and it's a 4 high for 5 that can give my next one stats, but 9 times out of 10 I just don't want to discard the card. So this was really just like, it's just a value move. And then my least favorite attack that I played today was for Relentless Barrage. I think it's the first thing that I'm going to cut and see if I can find just a different move. I think I'd actually like rather have like full power or full power clash, the other Midoriya 2 card. I do not remember. Maybe there's like a cool Bakugo card that I can slot in here. Anywho, yeah, these 2 cards were like very lackluster to me personally. The best part about them is that they are 1 mid blocks. There was one turn where I had this card and I was able to trigger its ability twice versus an Eraser Head, but like this move is so mid, and so like I really need highs and lows in order to make the deck work. And it's just mid after mid after mid, especially with like my best foundation and best leading attacks being 2 mids as well, like back alley into Harden into Barrage, just like mid. Just does not feel fantastic, truly. And then the MVP, my actual favorite attack, and I wish I would have been playing more of this one, is Naval Laser Beam. 2 mid block, breaker block, but more importantly, it's a 5 diff that becomes a 5 mid for 8, 9, 10 off of Kirishima. This card felt great. This card felt super good. There were plenty of times where I had committed face up useless foundations, and this card just got stats because of it. It felt really good. But that's the attack lineup. That's really it. I initially came into this build with the thought of playing things like Ready, Get, Set, Go and Sugar Rush Power Up. But I was like, because I am opting to do a 30 attack build, I cannot pull back on the likelihood of me breaking on turn 1, turn 2, because those are the 2 most important turns of the game. And so I need to make sure that I have plenty of foundation. So I'm opting not to play any actions. I'm opting not to play any attacks. I think in the fire version, I would be playing Go for the Wins. I think that card is really cool in this deck, and you get a lot of value off of Go for the Win. But that's another video for another day. So onto the foundations. Like I said earlier, we are playing all 0 diff foundations except for 1. But let's talk about the ones that actually have card text. For Battle Resolve, this card accidentally says commit for -3 speed. Has been relevant on a breaker block. Has been relevant whenever I have to block one specific thing. As well as 9 times out of 10, you're not going to commit for the plus speed because you'd rather commit these for cost on playing another ability, right? I check a 3, I needed a 5, I'll commit my 2. But this card feels very good. It's the primo target to build in with all of your build stuff. Second best target is, of course, for tight-lipped 0-5-1 mid-block. It's just good all around. Flip my bad face-up foundations to try and poke in a little bit of extra damage. It's +2 off of Kirishima, +1 off of tight-lipped. There was a time where I was playing and my opponent was at 7, and I had Kirishima plus double tight-lipped on attack as a smash. And so it was versus Tetsu, who could put my thing back to 1 damage. And so I was able to leverage the ability of like, yo, I'll increase this up to 7, you can drop it down, I'll put it right back to 7. It was very cool, very useful. The only one diff in the foundation lineup, and the only real flow card is just Manly Passionate Guy. Because of the fact that I get to raw draw bonus cards during my opponent's turn, I get to draw twice during my opponent's turn as I re-ready cards. Sometimes you get a foundation you can block with that you drew off the top. It's the only low block on the foundations, right? Double checking. Yeah, it's the only low block on the foundations. And that sucks, but like this deck's not supposed to necessarily block. It's supposed to sling 5 attacks on my turn, build 1 foundation, and pray. That's the goal. There was not another 0 diff to play, or else it probably would be a 0 diff. We're playing all of the other ones. But this card's great. Would change it. Last card, or sorry, second last card. We've got a 4 AKB fixed 0-5-1 high block. Unfair stats. It's more building, so my opponent's just not allowed to build to stun me. If they do stun me, I'll probably kill them the next turn because I have even more foundations, and I don't care that they're attack cards because I have 30 attacks in my deck. Yeah, this card feels great. And then the worst foundation in the deck, it's only here because it is a 0, and I want to play 3 foundations, play 3 attacks, play foundations for free, and that's Internship with Best Genus. Technically, the response was useful one time today when I was fighting off against Eraserhead. It kind of like flipped some okay to bad cards on his board, but genuinely, like the only thing that this thing synergizes with is just Relentless Barrage, and I said that I wanted to take this out anyways. So, this card's fine. This card's cool. This card's fine. I don't think that it is anything to write home about. It's a 0-5-3 mid block with a mediocre ability. All in all, this deck was a blast, guys. I highly recommend this deck for locals. I don't think that it is a competitive deck, but it was a really fun thought experiment. I think with a little bit of honing, I think it easily could go 5-3, maybe even with a good run squeak in at a top 16. No shot it wins the whole tournament, though. So if that's what you're looking for your Kirishima 2 list, this is not necessarily it. With that, you guys, thank you much for watching the video. Make sure you catch my live streams over on twitch.tv as we play on these tournaments, and hopefully have YouTube videos for them later. With that, though, let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know if you think there's anything that I missed or I could have done to better make this 30 attack Kirishima list work. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. So with that, thank you much for watching, you guys, and I wish you well.